I made over $150,000 in my first 7 months flipping mobile homes. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I did this with no real estate license, no loans, no real estate background or experience, and how you can do it too. I'm going to share with you each deal that I have, how I found these deals, how much I purchased these deals for, how much I sold them for, and the return on investment with each one of these. It'll blow your mind. I started flipping mobile homes in 2017. I looked into other forms of real estate, wholesaling, multifamily homes, all that stuff, but none of it made sense to me. Prices, competition, everything of that sort. It was just hard to get into and hard to create the lifestyle that I wanted from that business. I came across mobile homes. I decided to get very niche down. Came across mobile homes by having a conversation with someone. Random conversation brought mobile homes up. I was confused at first, like mobile homes, I don't know if this is a business that works. I told my friends and other people about it and they're all like, mobile homes, you're not gonna make any money on these things. People who live in these mobile homes aren't going to be able to pay you. And all these thoughts seemed valid to me, but I wanted to continue to look into it because my intuition was telling me that this might be a good business to step into. And I'm gonna walk you through how I made over $150,000 in just my first 7 months of being in business. I was lucky enough to come across a mentor, someone who was big in the mobile home park space, and he was selling his mobile home parks for over $100 million. This is how I first heard of mobile homes and mobile home parks. After I heard him mention that to me, I was like, that's interesting. Show me how it's done. And he decided to take me under his wing and show me the business, and I went all in on mobile home flipping. So the exact steps that I implemented to begin this business was step number 1. I got clear on all of the mobile home parks within a 2-hour radius. I looked up on Google. I looked up on Google Maps. I figured it all out. I mapped them all out and I put them down in a Google sheet and broke down every single one of the parks and the distance that they were from me. After I got done with that, I moved on to step number 2. And step number 2 was I called all of these parks and asked them specific questions. Asked them questions about the park. Asked them if they have any mobile homes for sale inside that community. I also asked them if they allow investors inside of their community. I asked these questions because I wanted to get clear on, 1, if any of these parks had deals that I could initially jump on and get started with, and 2, if I was even allowed to do it, because I didn't want to waste my time driving out to these parks hours away and be told, oh no, we don't allow this, we don't have any homes, this park doesn't even exist anymore. There were some of those that I came across where parks were on the map, I drove to them and they weren't there. There was nothing there. Managers didn't answer, but I decided to still drive out there and take a look at them. Which moves me on to step number 3, driving to these parks. So I drove in my first month of being in business, the first couple of weeks, I drove to at least, I would say 40 mobile home parks. I would map it out. Now on Google Maps on our phone or Maps on the iPhone, you can map out one after the next and it'll show you the distance and everything, but I didn't have that. I had to use some like MapQuest thing on the computer. And I mapped out the distance, which one to go to first, which one to go to second. And I would spend a whole entire day driving around going to these mobile home parks. Now, I didn't only drive to these mobile home parks just to go to them and look at them and go, oh yeah, that's a nice park. But I drove to these mobile home parks for a reason. I had Bandit signs with me that said, we buy mobile homes. And I put these Bandit signs outside of all the perimeters of the park. So not inside of the park because I didn't want to get kicked out or I didn't want to piss off a manager or someone living inside the park. So I guess we can say step number 4 is I put all these Bandit signs in the outside perimeters of these parks in order to get phone calls for anyone who was interested in selling their mobile homes. It simply said, we buy mobile homes, and I had a Google Voice phone number on these signs. Step number 5, after I did that, I then went to the park. I went inside the park and I met the park manager. Building relationships and building rapport is so important when it comes to this business and really any business. But these managers are the gatekeepers for your deals. They're going to let you know what deals become available, who passed away, who's moving out, who's behind on lot rent, if you build a good relationship with them. So step number 5 was building these relationships, going there, shaking their hand, handing them my business card, asking them questions, getting them to know me and like me and trust me, and being able to build that rapport and connection with them. Step number 6 is I drove through the park and I wrote down any homes that looked like they were all beat up or any homes that had for sale signs on them. Step number 7 is I called the for sale signs. So before I left the park, I would call all the for sale signs to see if anyone was there, if they had a home that I can take a look at. And then if they were available and I could take a look at the home, perfect, I'd go in there and take a look at them. Step number 8 was calling some for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Not calling them, but reaching out to them. Any homes that look decent, I would reach out on Facebook Marketplace and say, hey, is your home still available for sale? I'm looking to purchase a mobile home. I'm an investor looking to move fast, to really change the dialogue and have a different script. And then step number 9, I waited for the calls. So my first deal was off of a phone call from Bandit sign. This first deal, which I talk about on the channel, I've talked about this deal in other videos on this channel, they wanted $45,000 for it. They called my We Buy Mobile Home sign and said, hey, I saw your sign inside the park. We have a mobile home for sale. Are you interested in purchasing it? Are you still looking to buy a mobile home? I said, yes. What's your asking price? They said $45,000. At that point, I was like, no shot. I'm not buying this for $45,000. This is way out of my price range, but let me shoot my shot anyway. I don't have $45,000. I'm investing in it. The most that I can do is $10,000. When I said that, they laughed and said, thanks anyway. If anything, we'll get back to you. Like, okay, fine. And I asked them if I could follow up in a certain amount of time. They said $10,000. I moved on and I continued to look at homes. I continued to do what I was doing, continue to find deals, continue to answer my phone and make offers and look at homes. Before I purchased my first one, I think I looked at 3 mobile homes in person before I purchased my first one. But they got back to me. They actually got back to me about 2 weeks later and said, hey, is your offer still available? Because they had a buyer that fell through. They weren't living in the state. They didn't want to deal with another winter with this mobile home because it was in the Northeast. I said, yes, it's still available. I went there, took a look at it. I dropped the price down to $7,500 after I took a look at it because it looked like some other things were needed. And I didn't want to put $10,000 into the business to start. I didn't have that much capital and I wanted to make sure I was doing it right and I wasn't going to go broke on my first deal. So I said $7,500. They accepted. I then went back to that mobile home a week later or a few days later after they accepted that. They had to send me the contract because they were out of state. And before anything was signed, the title or anything of that was signed, I let them know. We turned on the water and water was shooting out everywhere. So I let them know, hey, the most I can do is $3,500. And again, I talk about this deal more in depth. I'm going to do it for one of our videos. So if you want to hear more about that step by step, you can definitely do so. But $3,500. They actually ended up accepting it. I was scared. I didn't want the deal at that point in time because I didn't know what was wrong with it. Luckily, it was literally just they had to twist a knob on one of the pipes and I paid the manager $50 to do so. I didn't know that. I didn't know what I was getting into when I said $3,500, but they accepted it and I purchased that one for $3,500. Purchased that one. We then did some work to it. As you can see, $6,500. We were all in. I ended up selling it on seller financing for $55,000 and they were making payments. They put down $7,500. So I was all in, costs were covered with their down payment. I always like that. $7,500 and then making payments of $658 per month for the next 56 months or whatever that is. You can see there on the photo. They were making the payments and these payments were passive income. I'm not the landlord, I'm the bank. They're simply making me payments every single month until the home's paid off. They're not calling me or anything. They paid this home off. They actually ended up paying it off quicker. They want to put more cash down. It worked out great. Beautiful deal. Great deal. While I was in the process of finishing up that deal, I was still driving to other mobile homes and looking at other mobile homes and making offers on other mobile homes. And by the time I was done with that one, boom, I moved right on to my next one because I already made the offer. It was ready in conversation. I purchased that next one for $1,400. Now this one, they called me on my Bandit. No, actually, the park manager let them know about me. I built a relationship with the park manager by going there, giving them my business card. The park manager let them know. Their mother was moving out of the home. She was moving to an elderly facility. They didn't want to deal with the home. They see it was just trash. They didn't want anything to do with it. So they called me up. They originally, I believe, said they wanted $5,000 for it. I said the most I can do is $1,400 for it. They said yes. They cleaned it out for me. There was a bunch of junk everywhere in the home. I purchased it for $1,400. Now, within a month, I had that same mobile home sold. For $28,500. I believe I was about $3,000 all in. I collected a down payment of $6,000 and they were making me payments of $352 per month for the next 64 months. So they were making these payments in order to pay off the home. Now, these people as well, they said that they were going to pay the home off sooner and within a year, they paid the rest of the remainder of the home off. So if you do the math on these two, I sold this one for $55,000, the first one for $55,000. That was, and then we were $6,500 all in. So $55,000 minus $6,500 is $48,500. And then the second one, we were all in about $3,000, I believe it was. And then $28,500 is what we sold it for. So that's $25,500 net profit on that one. So $25,500 net profit on the first one and about a $48,000 net profit on the second one. I'm already profiting $73,500 on these first two mobile homes. Now, the next mobile home I had was in that same park and it was from that same park manager, which was amazing. It worked out very well because we were able to move from the first one right to the second one. It was right down the street and I ended up purchasing that one before I sold the next one. I was starting to gain the confidence, like I can handle more than one at a time. This guy called me. He said he was moving out of the state. This home has been sitting there. He actually lied to me and told me that he had someone that was living inside the home. They just moved out, but come to it, it was vacant for a while. The air conditioning system wasn't working. He said it was working. The toilets were all crusted over and gross. So I just had to pay off his taxes. He had school taxes for the state that this mobile home was in. I paid off these taxes, was a total $1,568. I paid that off. I was all in about $5,000, I want to say. I collected a down payment of $5,000. So all in costs covered. And I sold this one for $34,000, which gives me a $29,000 net profit. So we add that together, $29,000 net profit. We're at $102,500. This buyer found me on my Facebook page. I started a Facebook page. I had like 10 followers on that Facebook page. And one of them was someone who saw another one of my posts. This is when Facebook Marketplace lets you post from your actual pages versus just your profile. She saw it. She was interested. She jumped on it and purchased that mobile home, which worked out great. She moved in. Now, she saw the mobile home and she wanted it within the first week of us purchasing it, but there were pipes underneath that needed to be fixed, and it took forever to do that because the guy I had doing the pipes didn't know what he was doing. We figured it out. We got it done. Boom. Move on to the next one. And then the next mobile home that I purchased, it was in a different park. They called me on my Bandit sign, and I ended up purchasing this mobile home. This was my highest purchase for $9,600. Now, initially, it was a $10,000 purchase price. I said to them, hey, I don't have $10,000 to put down this mobile home. I had it, but I didn't want to put all my money into one deal. And I then worked out with them seller financing. I was going to put down X amount of dollars. I can't remember off the top of my head how much I put down. I think it was like $1,000. And I believe it was payments of $250 per month until the home was paid off. This was my first time trying to purchase on seller financing. They said yes to my surprise. I said awesome. And we moved forward. They handed me over the title. I got the title. And then I did some work to the home. I didn't do too much to this home. There wasn't much I needed to be done to it. Actually, I believe I ended up purchasing it for $8,500 and I put $700 into it, or $7,500 and I put like $1,500 into it. I don't want to think off the top of my head or off the fly here. Can't do math that fast, but that's how it worked out. I ended up purchasing it because I paid it off sooner. So how this worked is I then found a buyer for $53,200. I found a buyer for $53,200. They ended up putting $10,000 down. I then contacted the seller and said, hey, if I pay you off sooner, can we put the price down? They said yes. I believe it was like $8,500. And we only had to do very basic things to this mobile home. That's why my totals were $9,600. Just had to like steam the carpet and power wash, and that was it. It was good to go. And then we sold it. Then I sold this mobile home. So this one, $53,200 minus $9,600. Gives me a total net profit of $146,100 that I made in those first 7 months. Now, that's not correct. I know the numbers were a little different. They were a little more than that because of interest that was tacked onto it. I just don't have those listed out, but I made about probably $55,000 to $160,000 on these deals. This is what's possible, and we're still buying deals like this. We're buying deals for less than $5,000, getting deals for free, which we talk about in other videos, how we find these cheap mobile homes, getting these deals for free because this business is here. There's a high demand for move-in ready mobile homes, but there's a very low supply of move-in ready mobile homes. If you can fill this gap, this is the affordable housing industry, and you go about it the right way, you can build a very successful business doing this. You're avoiding the competition, you're avoiding the extremely high prices, you're getting them for extremely cheap, and you're having a greater return on your investments, and these deals move a lot faster. As you can see, each one of these deals, it was like 1 month, another month, another month. They move quick because you're doing basic things to these mobile homes, and even if you have to do a full renovation, my crew now, they do full gut jobs and full renovations within 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Completely done, completely gutted, because they're a lot simpler than single family homes and all the complexities that includes. And again, you don't need perfect credit, you don't need licenses, you don't need tons of cash, you don't need experience. If you want to learn more about how you can build this business and step into mobile home investing and create a real income through doing so, whether you're selling them for all cash, which we do a lot as well, or if you're selling them on payments to create passive income, there's plenty of ways to be able to do so. We have our free school community. You can comment school inside of the comments down below or click on the link down below to gain access to our free school community where we break things down. We're giving guidance, tips, different trainings inside of there as well, completely free. If you have any questions, comment with your questions down below as well. Make sure to subscribe to this channel because we have tons of videos that are continuously coming out that are dropping for you that you can learn from, understand to build this business. And subscribe to this channel, like this video, do everything else that you got to do this video to help us boost it and get out to more people. My name is George Walhor. Thank you for watching. Happy investing, and I will catch you in the next video. Again, our school link is down below. You can comment school, or you can click on the link in the description or in the comments. I'll catch you over there.